Ever feel like you're standing on the edge of something huge EE?
Yeah.
Like, remember when the internet first took off,
Mm-hmm.
or when you first like held a smartphone?
Oh, yeah.
That's AI right now for me.
Yeah, I get that. It really does feel like we're on the verge of something massive. And the conversation we're diving into today, oh man, it really captures that feeling, you
Yeah.
know? Like being right at the front of this wave.
Yeah, and what I really love about this one is just how practical it is.
Yeah.
They don't just talk about the potential of AI. They actually give you like a roadmap for how to actually navigate it, how to
Yeah.
come out ahead.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And you know that thing they say about it being an AI goldmine?
Oh, yeah.
They don't just like throw that out there, they break it down. They explain why it is a gold rush.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how they connect it back to like the internet and smartphones and even Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Like what set those early adopters apart wasn't just knowing about it, right? It was that they saw the potential and they actually jumped in.
The action.
Yeah, exactly. It was the action that made all the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the challenge for us now, right? Like we're here listening to this deep dive and we're getting all this knowledge, but like, what are we going to do with it?
That's the question, isn't it? And they make a really strong argument for why now is like the perfect time to start an AI company.
Okay.
They're saying the tech is finally good enough, powerful enough, accessible enough to build something really groundbreaking.
Wow.
And the user base is growing like crazy.
Yeah.
So there's this huge market just waiting for solutions.
Okay. So starting a company that might not be for everyone, but I think the message is pretty clear.
Yep.
Like, if you don't want to get left behind, you got to be proactive.
Absolutely.
And if you're thinking about your career, you got to choose companies that are embracing AI, not running from it.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting is how they talk about how this AI revolution is different from like the internet or smartphones.
Oh, how so?
The learning curve is way lower.
Really?
Yeah. Think about it. Like in the early days of the internet, you needed all this specialized knowledge and expensive. Yeah, that's true.
Now you can learn almost everything online for free.
Wow.
Open source projects, people building in public, tons of free resources.
So it's all out there.
The gatekeepers are gone.
That's huge.
So no matter who you are or what your background is, upskilling yourself in AI could be the smartest thing you do.
Yeah, like an investment in your future.
Exactly. And they don't just talk about the benefits in theory, they give you real advice on how to get started.
Like what?
Well, one of the big things is they say you got to become an active user of AI products. Like, don't wait until it's perfect.
Okay.
Dive in now. Learn the ropes.
Get comfortable with the learning curve.
Exactly. It might feel a little weird at first, but that's how you get ahead of the game.
It's like that guy who said he tried every single app when the App Store first launched.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
That's dedication.
Total dedication.
Yeah.
But it shows how important hands-on experience is.
Right.
Like, you can't learn everything from reading about it.
You got to actually use the tools. Okay, so we've talked about opportunities, skills, but what about the big question? What about programmers? Are they going to be obsolete in this AI world?
They actually address that head on, and their perspective is really interesting.
Oh, listening.
They believe that technical skills are more important than ever.
So they're not saying like coding is dead.
No, not at all. Actually, they think understanding how these systems work at a deep level, it's going to be a huge advantage.
Okay.
Someone has to build these AI systems right. Someone has to maintain them and fix them when they break.
That's true. And let's be real. AI still makes mistakes. It's still got biases. We need people who can like see through the algorithms.
Yeah.
Spot those problems and fix them.
Exactly. And they make a really cool distinction between the types of programming skills that might become less important,
Like what?
like memorizing every API or syntax,
Right. Okay.
versus the skills that will be even more valuable.
Interesting.
Things like understanding the logic behind AI, debugging these complex systems, and anticipating potential problems.
So it's less about writing code line by line and more about understanding how AI works as a whole.
Exactly. It's about being able to think critically about AI, understand its limitations, and work alongside the technical experts to make sure it's being used responsibly.
And effectively.
Yeah. And even if you're not a programmer yourself, having a basic understanding of these concepts is going to be so crucial.
In this AI-driven world.
Exactly.
So how do we even begin to wrap our heads around all of this? It feels like a whole new way of thinking.
Well, they give some pretty practical advice. Remember how they talked about becoming active users of AI products?
Yeah.
That's a great place to start. Like, don't be afraid to just experiment. Try out different tools. Even if you don't fully get how they work yet,
Okay.
you'll be surprised how quickly you start to pick things up.
Like learning a new language, right? You don't become fluent overnight, but just starting to use it in everyday life helps you learn so much faster.
Exactly. And they even say it's worth paying for good AI tools and resources.
Oh, interesting.
Think of it as investing in your education. In the early days of any new tech, there's usually a premium on getting the best info and tools.
It reminds me of that story about the guy who downloaded every single app when the App Store launched.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Classic.
talk about dedication.
But it wasn't just about collecting apps. It was about immersing himself in that world.
Understanding the landscape.
Yeah, seeing what was possible.
Yeah.
And that's what they're encouraging us to do with AI.
Be a user, not a
Yeah.
spectator.
Exactly.
I like that. But there's still a part of me that's intimidated by all of this. AI feels so complex and it's changing so fast.
It is. And that's why it's so important to remember you don't have to figure everything out on your own.
Okay.
There's tons of resources out there. And there are people who are passionate about sharing what they know and helping others learn.
Right.
Find those communities. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
That's how we all learn.
Exactly. And that next step change they keep hinting at.
Oh, yeah, that's the part that really has my mind spinning. What are they talking about?
It's a little vague, but they seem to be saying we're on the edge of another huge GE breakthrough in AI.
Like what? What could be bigger than what we're seeing now?
Something that'll make everything we have now look like child's play.
Wow.
Imagine if the tools we have now were 10 times more powerful, or 100 times.
That's both exciting and terrifying.
It is. But remember, this isn't science fiction. This is happening right now.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're paying attention, if you're engaging with this tech, you'll be in a much better position to navigate those changes and capitalize on the opportunities.
So let's take a step back for a second. Reflect on what we've talked about. So far, we've covered a lot. From the state of AI now to the potential for these massive breakthroughs in the near future, what's resonating with you? What are your biggest takeaways? I mean, it's a lot to take in. But I think the main message is don't just sit back and watch this happen. Get in the game.
Totally. It's like they're saying the future is being written right now, and you can be a part of it. They're not just predicting it. They're encouraging us to shape it.
Yeah, and that takes guts, right? Like stepping outside your comfort zone, taking risks, being okay with not having all the answers.
It does. But they remind us that every big tech revolution, it's been driven by people who are willing to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
Like the early internet people or the ones who built the first smartphones.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have a roadmap. They were figuring it out as they went, making mistakes, learning from them.
And that's where the real magic happens. When you push past what you think is possible, experiment, learn.
Exactly. And they make this point about the learning process itself. In the early days of any new tech, there's often a premium on getting the best info and tools.
Yeah.
They even say it's worth paying for good AI tools and resources.
Like an investment.
Yeah. Like you're investing in your education. You're
Yeah.
paying for access to expertise, to a community, to tools that can help you learn faster.
Makes sense.
And it's not just about money. It's about the time and effort you put in.
Right.
They really emphasize that this isn't a spectator sport. You got to roll up your sleeves and get involved.
So what's the first step? Like, where do we even begin?
Well, they have a few suggestions. One is to become an active user of AI products.
Yeah.
Like, try different tools, play around with different platforms, even if you don't totally understand how they work yet.
Okay.
The more you use them, the more comfortable you'll get, and the faster you'll learn.
It's like that immersion thing with languages.
Yeah.
You pick things up way
Yeah.
faster when you're actually using it.
Exactly. Another thing they suggest is finding a community of people who are into AI.
Okay.
Like, join online forums, go to conferences, connect with people on social media. There's a whole world of people who want to share what they know and help others learn.
That's what I love about the tech world. There's this amazing spirit of collaboration. People are always sharing knowledge.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the traditional ways of learning, too. Like, read books, take online courses, go to workshops. There are tons of resources out there to help you understand AI better.
So it sounds like the big takeaway is don't be intimidated. Don't let all this complexity stop you. Just take action.
Yeah.
Even a small step is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, every step gets you closer to mastering this tech and shaping your future.
And it's not just about learning for the sake of learning. It's about using what you learn to build something new, to solve problems, to make a difference.
That's what it's all about. And that thought they leave us with, the one about imagining yourself 10 years from now,
Oh, yeah. What do you wish you had done differently today?
makes you think, huh?
It does, because
Yeah.
the choices we make now, the actions we take, they're going to have a ripple effect on our future.
That's for sure.
So let's ride this wave. Let's dive in. Explore, experiment, learn. The future of AI is waiting to be written, and we can be a part of that story.